What if I told you that a judge once mocked a black woman in court without realizing that he was humiliating the very person who had the power to end his career? This is not just a story about justice being served. It is about karma arriving at the perfect moment, dressed in silence and confidence. The courtroom was full that morning. A young black woman walked in quietly, holding a thin file close to her chest. Her navy blue suit was modest, her hair tied neatly, and her eyes calm and steady. She was there for what seemed to be a small traffic violation, something she insisted she did not commit. But from the very moment she entered the courtroom, Judge Harrison's tone shifted. "Miss," he said with a smirk, "you people need to learn to follow the law instead of making excuses." A heavy silence filled the room. The woman's expression did not change. She spoke softly, "Your Honor." With all due respect, but before she could finish, he cut her off sharply. "Oh, do not pull that respect card. You are in my courtroom. You will speak when I tell you to." He leaned back, arrogance dripping from his words. The spectators exchanged awkward glances. Still, she stood there silently, hands folded, showing no sign of anger. That only seemed to irritate him more. Judge Harrison began to mock her education, her appearance, even her accent. "You think dressing up like a lawyer makes you one, please." A few people in the back chuckled, nervous but entertained by the judge's cruelty. The woman stayed silent, breathing slowly. The judge finally said, "All right, I have heard enough. You will pay the fine and apologize to the officer you disrespected." For a brief moment, no one moved. Then she smiled. It was not a sarcastic smile, not angry, just calm and confident. She reached into her bag, pulled out a sleek black leather identification case, and placed it gently on the table in front of her. Her voice was clear, professional, and unshaken as she said, "Your Honor, you just violated several federal ethics codes. And by the way, I was not here as a defendant." The judge frowned in confusion. "What are you talking about?" She turned the ID around, and the gold letters shimmered under the fluorescent light. United States Department of Justice, Federal Prosecutor. A wave of gasps filled the courtroom. The judge's face went pale. She continued, her tone steady and firm. "I was assigned to observe your courtroom due to multiple complaints of bias and misconduct." "Congratulations, Judge Harrison. You just confirmed them all." The judge stammered. I did not know," she interrupted, this time with quiet authority. "I am sure you did not. That is exactly the problem. This report will be submitted directly to the Judicial Review Board." The silence that followed was deafening. Even the laughter that had filled the room earlier had completely vanished. 2 weeks later, the news headlines read, "Racist Judge Suspended for Misconduct Investigation," led by Black Federal Prosecutor. The same woman who had once been mocked stood outside the courthouse that morning, speaking to reporters. She did not celebrate or boast. She simply said, "Power is not about shouting from the bench. It is about standing up for those who cannot. So tell me, what would you have done in her place?"